Hello, everybody. We want to sincerely thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining another edition of our Brain Talk. And today we'll be hosting another great personality. Is also a co-founder at Eden World Initiative, in person of Aderele Meshach. He's currently a graduate student at the American University Beirut. Today we'll be sharing insight on a very great topic, which is the Anthropocene and the near future. As events unfold, we know that we have so many things that are trending, even on the bad side. The climate is changing, and some other degradation happening in the environment. But then it is important for us to consider some of these things, and as well as to know the balance we can have, so as to have a sustainable environment. So I would like to welcome my guest, Meshach Aderele. Thank you so much for joining us on today's event.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ololuwa. Okay, can you hear me loudly? Is my
Yes,
voice
I
very
can.
loud and clear?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm tempted to say praise God.
Okay,
All
still
right.
good, still good, still good. Um,
Yeah.
um, Meshach, we're happy to host you on today's event. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad.
Yeah,
And it's an
yeah,
opportunity to. Yeah.
thank you. And then for emphasis sake, Meshach is also a co-founder at Eden World Initiative. It's always involved as far as environmental issues are concerned, and with a great player to host him today, and also being a co-founder of
Okay. Ololu, are you there? Ololu, are you there? Okay. Um. All right. Uh. Okay. Looks like Ololuwa's network is went off. All right. So the topic mainly is on the Anthropocene and the new era, on the Anthropocene and the new era, and it's a kind of topic that I like to talk about because we have, of course, the time where we had the Holocene, and now we have the era of the Anthropocene. Okay, the era of the Holocene, we're still enjoying ourselves, but the era of the Anthropocene is just a transition from the Holocene. Okay, it is the era where Holocene is the era where we have the environmental balance, and human beings will enjoy the environment, and the environment at the same time is able to sustain itself at altogether. But the era of the Anthropocene is that where, okay, the humans are now pushing the environment to its extreme, where it is now very hard for the environment to be able to sustain itself. So that is the Anthropocene. It is the era where we now give priority to our personal benefit without caring about, okay, how will the environment regenerate, without caring about the pressure that we are putting on the environment. So that is the Anthropocene. I think, okay, looks like Olaoluwa is back. All right. Looks like Olaoluwa is back. Okay. So it is the era where we are the human, we are very selfish. We care about ourselves alone. We care about our survival. We care about the technology we want to use. We only care about the food we want to eat. We care about the clothes we want to wear. We care about the machines we want to use. We just care about ourselves without looking at, okay, how will the environment, okay, what is the impact of our actions on the environment, and that made it a big issue. Okay, and that is what we're talking about when we talk about the Anthropocene. Okay, so this era is a lot of things is happening. That is why we are complaining about climate change. People are complaining about global warming. Today, it's even hard to be able to say this is the weather condition. What we used to predict before, that maybe rain will fall in so month, rain will refuse to, okay, come around. When you say okay, it's gonna, you even see weather prediction not working the way it ought to work. They can predict that there will be rain tomorrow and there will be no rain. They can predict that it will be sunny tomorrow, and you see that everywhere is very cold. So you see that a lot of things are changing, even though, even at this moment, some people, okay, Olalua is here.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
even though some people are trying to look at climate change as a myth, some people say it's not real. Okay, I've been in a class where a professor one time some years ago said climate change is not real, that it is just the head of people thinking about it. But I was in the class, I was like, sir, this is I think I tweeted it. I made a tweet on it and I was like, this thing is clear to the blind. He said this is just a propaganda for some people to make money. They sign what protocol, they do this, they do that. They just travel around to sign treaties and all sorts and everything. But it is actually real. We are seeing the impact of these things now in our environment. Okay. Right here in Beirut, okay, it's expected that they should have seen rain, but the last time it rained here in Beirut, it's over maybe 3 months. I can calculate. One of our professor was telling us in class yesterday. So, and this thing is happening every day. So, these are signals to tell us that if we continue this way, I don't know what may happen. I don't know where we get ourselves to. And that is what makes the issue of understanding what Anthropocene is and looking at how we could, go around it to ensure that we strike a balance between our survival and environmental sustainability to see it as something that is paramount to deal with. And that's why we're dealing with this topic today.
Thank you so much, Meshach, for that intro. You know, sometimes it is so sad because when you people, well, people who are supposed to support this cause, when they are saying, okay, this thing we are talking about is not real. Sometimes it can be so saddening. You understand? And even as a stakeholder in this field too, I mean, some of the professors in some schools, you understand. I think we as environmentalists too, we need the support of some of these scientists who don't really think what we are discussing is real. We need their support too. We need them to have a change of mind to follow the course we are into. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's okay. I was looking at talking about this by the end of the stream, but I think bringing it up now, I could, okay,
Okay,
bring it forward. Okay,
okay.
now we look at it, dealing with environmental issues as the work of environmentalists, and that is why we are suffering. That is why we are where we are. Okay, the engineer thinks his priority is just to build the machines. The building engineer, okay, let's say the builders now just think they should just lay blocks. The people that are building cars just think let's build cars. The furniture guy is just thinking let me just cut down the wood and just bring out the planks and build those beautiful furnitures. And you see the teacher just think let me just go to class and teach and impact any kind of knowledge that I didn't fit. Okay, the person who study chemistry says, okay, let me just focus on chemicals. The person who study computer science says, let's just keep building the necessary technologies. Let's keep building the necessary software. Okay, in the area of fintech, especially in Africa, Nigeria specifically, where everybody is building fintech solutions. Okay, everyone wants to build a tech startup, just build website. Everybody's learning data science. Everybody's learning all kind of tech skill, but nobody is caring about okay for these things to thrive, it needs to thrive with humans. Okay, that means human survival is paramount, and human survival is dependent on the environment. So this whole thing is a system. They are all interconnected. When one suffers, the suffering will affect others, and we try to make one enjoy at the expense of others. We are going to come into a state that we wouldn't like. All right, we're going to come into a state that we don't like. So it's the work of everybody. It is coming together where the engineer is saying, okay, as let's say it's the building engineer, and he's saying, okay, we're going to construct, let's say, a 800 capacity building with that could contain 800 self-contained apartments and all. Okay, how do we construct this building in a way that it promotes environmental sustainability? What kind of material could we use that will promote environmental sustainability, and not just say, okay, let's just lay blocks for the laying sake? Okay, how does the tech startups are saying, okay, how can we enhance environmental sustainability through building tech solutions? All right, it could be solutions as simple as an environmental notification that try to track your code. I'm giving somebody a startup idea, okay, all right, that tracks your location. Okay, maybe I'm at a location, maybe some map API is connected, and at that location, maybe the sensor of your phone is sensing that there are no trees around that area, and it notifies you that you can plant a tree around this area. These simple things could contribute a whole lot, okay, to the whole thing, and the action of individual persons could become something bigger as we move forward
Okay.
to getting what we want. Yeah.
Thank you. So, if I can get what you are trying to say now, I think you are driving towards a climate smart economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, great, great. So moving forward, thank you for talking on Anthropocene. Thank you for giving us a kind of background of what it means. Can you tell us some of the drivers of Anthropocene?
Okay. The I think I will even call it driver. Okay,
Hmm. Okay,
because it's just one thing. It's
okay.
mainly one thing that led us to Anthropocene, because research has established it that we're in the Anthropocene era already. Okay,
Hmm.
research has established it that we're in the Anthropocene era already. Okay, some still argue it, but it's been established. Okay, one of the core, let me say, which is the center of driver of Anthropocene, is population increase. There's a graph I'm supposed to show. I ought to show, but I don't want to share screen, so we could be quick. And I wrote something down about how the population has increased over time, and this will help us to see what we are talking about. Now, in 1800, we're just about a billion or less than that. In 1800, and life looks normal. Life looks normal. At that point, people were not really dependent on energy in terms of industrial energy. You see, people were not dependent on electricity. People were not dependent on generators. People were not dependent on big kind of machines and all. Okay, and when people want to travel from one destination to another, they prefer to use camels, they prefer to use horses. They just have a way of doing it. We still have cultures that still, depend on this kind of movement. We still have areas, okay, which is termed as rural areas, that still depend on it, or this kind of, I can call it technology, because technology is not just machine. Technology is anything that makes life easy. So if I was supposed to trek from a destination to another and I use a horse to get to another destination, okay, I've applied technology I've solved the problem and make my life easy in the process. Now, in 1800, about a billion, and in 1930, 2 billion. So, which means between 1800 and 1930, that is about 130 years, and just 1 billion increase. Very simple increase. Okay, but by 1974, which is just 44 years to 1930, we doubled 2 billion, and that was 4 billion. So that is to tell you that we are not increasing serially, we are increasing exponentially. So it is not a 1, 2, 3, 4 increase, it is a
Yeah.
multiplicative increase. Okay, now from 1974 to 1999, which is, if my calculation is right, to 1999, that is about 25 years. Okay, am I correct, Olaloa? 25
24.
years between 1974 and 1999. That should be 25 years. Am I correct?
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, that should be 25 years. Okay, we increased again to 6 billion. So we moved within 44 years from 2 billion to 4 billion, and within 25 years, we moved to 6 billion. Now, within 1999 and 2020, or let's just say even 2021 that we have now to 2020, which is just 21 years, we moved with an increase of about 1.8 billion. So which means between 1930 and 2020 is just 90 years, and population has increased by over 6 billion within just 90 years. What took about 130 years for population to increase by 1 billion between 1800 and 1930. So that is to tell us that population increase is a critical issue in this scenario, which is a critical driver. Because when there's population increase, this population, they need to survive. They need to wear clothes. They need shelter. They need food. Okay, they need road. Okay, if initially we used to we use 100 kilometers square for farmland, because of the increasing population, we need to increase to 1,000 kilometers square. Okay, if the forest area initially used to be let's say 500 kilometers square, the forest area will deplete back into 300 kilometers squares because people prefer to have their farms where there used to be forest, because the organic matter of the soil, that area is very nutritious because forest has a great contribution to the nutrition soil nutrients. So when they remove the trees, they illegal logging and all sorts, of course, everything, or they clear the forest. Illegal logging is still a bit fair and clearing, total clearing. They clear the forest and establish farmland in those places, and they are doing this because human just need to survive. The population is increasing. There needs to be shelter. You still need these resources from somewhere, and this is a key driver. Then the kind of energy we used to consume, we can't stay consuming that kind of energy anymore. So we have to extend. We need more machines because we need industries to be more effective. So we couldn't do things the way we used to do them, and this thing take us closer to the era that we are now. And that's it. So population is key, and it is interconnected. So population will lead to industrialization because we when the industrialization happens, that's how we can feed the population. All right, and industrialization like the one we generally adopt today is that industrialization that now punctures environmental sustainability. So instead of having environmental sustainability, we now experience environmental degradation. So at this point now, there's stress over the environment because human need survival, and that is the Anthropocene era. And where this will lead us to in the near future is that we're going to get to a level where all our lives we have to be artificial. All our lives we have to be artificial. So let me not go into that yet. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Meshach, for balancing this and for letting us know. Thank you for giving us a good justification on this theme we are discussing this afternoon. Okay, moving forward, how can we definitely we are talking about the near future. To some, it might not be real to them because when you talk of the near future, some generations back, they might see the area we are in as the near future. But
Yeah.
then, how do you think we can balance the issue of the near future and Anthropocene? How can
Okay.
we? What does this mean? How can we balance these two?
All right. Okay. Before I continue to that, just a joke about an experience I had yesterday was when we were like, population is the problem of what we are facing in the Anthropocene era. Population led to it. So we're just joking around it. That maybe that was why some people came up with COVID-19 to reduce population. Okay. And people have been using several kind of virus to ensure that population increase is stopped. Okay. But but yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The new future. I used to see future. I usually see future as a myth. I see it as something that happen every day. Okay, you observe that the situation of tomorrow is a future. Tomorrow, the 17th of September, will be a future. So what we have not seen is the future. But the interesting part about the future is that we can. I don't want to say we can know the future, but we can predict it based on the data today. So there's nothing, the future does not hold something so different. The future holds the result, okay, the outcome of today. That is what the future holds. It's a cause and effect relationship. There's a cause and the effect. Okay, so that is what the future holds. So it's as simple as that. So, and the near future that I'm talking about here is a stage that if we don't adjust how we do things currently, if we don't adjust the way we put pressure on the environment, okay, If we don't strike a balance between sustainability and urbanization or industrialization or technology as we may deem it fit, if we don't strike a balance between these things, we are going to enter into that future, which is very near. That's why we call it the near future, where our lives will be artificial. It will be hard to breathe in good air, good hair without a hair condition. If you are outside your house, you will not be able to enjoy the weather. So every of our lives will be totally conditioned. We will have to rely on artificial rain, just like the case that they had in Dubai recently, where they had to create artificial rain because the temperature was increasing. I think above, I can't remember, maybe above 51 degrees or thereabout. Now, that is what we are going to enter. And you can see that it's becoming a reality already. It's becoming a reality, like that case of Dubai. Okay. Um, Geological processes that happen within geological time zone. When we say geological time zone, we're talking about hundreds to thousands of years. You see that the time that those processes, a geological process like volcanic eruption, will begin to happen at faster rates, and that is the near future that we are entering. So our lives will now be purely machine. So at that point, we won't be different from living like robots. So we will have to puncture the genetic makeup of our crops so that they can grow very fast. Right? We have to. There won't be natural medium of raising getting food. We have to everything. We have to be artificial. We have to create more chemicals. Even I mean, I'm even looking at it that even to live, so many people we have to live on drugs. Many people will have to live on drugs because they are components of the body that helps some nutrients that we should have gained if we're eating the right food, if we're breathing the right air. This kind of nutrients we have to gain them from drugs. Those that don't live on drugs, we have to live on herbs, and it will be hard to even live on herbs because those kind of plants that could be used for those medicinal or for those herbs will lack them in the forest. And that is the era we are shifting to. And if we're not careful, when we enter that era, only people at the higher pyramid of life will survive. And people at the lower pyramid of life, it will be hard for them to survive. It will be hard for people in my local government who are not in the high pyramid of life to survive. Like I was telling other people in Ileoluji, it may be hard for them to survive. Okay. All right. Because imagine if you have to be, how many people could afford air condition? Now, even if you could afford it, where is the electricity to use it? So, how many people could use artificial things for survival? How many people could live on drugs if you had to pay 5,000 naira to you for a drug to keep your body highly nutritious every day? That is, if you had to use it for 30 days of the month, that is 5,000 multiplied by 30,000 by 30, that's 150,000. And an average person in Nigeria, if you are earning over 100,000 in Nigeria, about 100,000 naira in Nigeria, you are one of the richest people because you are richer than over 50 million of the population. So that means even with your riches, you will not be able to survive at that point because a federal government staff, on average, we earn about 100 to maybe 130,000. So how do we want to survive at that point? That is the near future, and that is what we are trying to avoid. Yeah.
Thank you for that example. Using Nigerian currency as as a yardstick, as a sort of example of what we are trying to see. Again, moving forward, you talked about the driver of Anthropocene, which is population increase as a major driver. We cannot take away urbanization from increasing population because urbanization is something that happens because of new development, new innovations coming into some areas that we can term as urban cities or urban areas. I think you understand. So how do we ensure that while urbanization is on the high side,
Are you there? It seems your network is
can you
crumbling.
hear me now? Can you hear me
Okay,
now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Okay, come up with the question again.
Okay. I was saying, how do we ensure that Anthropocene is not on the high side while we are trying to get into urbanization? Because we are in the era of urbanization. A lot of cities are becoming more developed, more technological innovations, more people are moving into the cities, into the urban areas, and this would, in one way or the other, add to what we are discussing this afternoon, which is Anthropocene. So, how do we ensure a kind of balance that Anthropocene will not be on the high side or will not become higher as urbanization increases?
Okay. Um, since 2017, okay, during my undergraduate research, these are the kind of question I was asking, and that was what led to the kind of research I did in my undergraduate studies. Okay, on land use dynamics. Okay,
Okay.
using, of course, where we use remote sensing technology to assess land use change and land cover change. Now, the reason I was doing this is, okay, how much of land cover? Okay, I want to know the speed at which land use in a specific forest reserve is changing. All right, then try to assess the causes. What is causing this land use change? Okay, then I was able to get the fact that uh people there, they don't really value the forest. The only thing they see about the forest as a value are the timber. Okay, they only care about the productive function, okay, provisional function of the
Yeah.
forest. Provisional function of the forest, where forest is provide about three functions. Okay, about three functions. There's a provisional function, there's a cultural function, there's a regulatory function, and there's a supporting function. The four. But people are only knowledgeable about the provisional function of the forest. So now that is where the solution to striking this balance is firstly a thing of the mind. Okay, people need to get a shift in their mind. Okay, not just the elites, but those local women who didn't go to school. That's why forest education is not just for the academics.
Mm.
Environmental education is not just for the elites. It is for everybody. It is for my grandmother. It's for my grandfather. Okay, I think he's still alive. Okay, no, he's dead. That's a joke. All right. Okay, it is for everybody. It is not just for some special kind of people. So, and that is the main problem. The elite are the only one that understand this thing. But how many of the elites are closer to this situation? All right. So it is a shift in mind. So I understood that those people only see the forest as a place where timber is being provided. All right. So when there's no timber there again, and we have shrub-like trees in those forest area, they believe it is not really a forest, in quote. So they can clear it off because they need more land for agriculture, and they need to produce maize, they need to produce tomatoes, they need to produce pepper, they need to, food crops. So they clear the forest and they plant these food crops. Okay. Now, what was the solution I was able to profile in my research? Okay, the solution I was able to provide is an agroforestry system. Okay, now we wouldn't say people should not eat and just have timbers or trees growing while they are hungry. All right, so if they are not killed by the environment, by nature, hunger will kill them. So there needs to be a balance between, okay, how do we keep people from not being hungry and how to keep nature at a good state? So that's what agroforestry does, which means, okay, we are not saying don't plant, but don't remove the forest. Even by planting within the forest without removing them, we help the crops to grow faster because the soil in the forest is highly nutritious. The soil in the forest can contribute a lot to the growth of those plants. Okay, so that is the first stage. An agroforestry system, in terms of food, will be a great solution. Agroforestry system. Okay, the second one, I wrote something here. I said prioritize renewable energy and storage. Prioritize renewable energy and storage. So it has its pros and cons, disadvantage and advantage. Okay, because the disadvantage there, which I'll emphasize on renewable energy and all, is the cost. Okay, the disadvantage is the cost. Okay, so we're not just saying it is hard for how many people could afford one solar panel, how many people could afford batteries. All right, so it has the pros and cons. Nevertheless, we need to make it a priority. When we make it a priority, okay, you can see HIV/AIDS. We couldn't get the exact drug to deal with it, okay, because it did not affect everybody all at once the way COVID-19 did. But because COVID-19 affected everybody in the pyramid of life, the poor, the rich, the middle class, and everybody, now we are taking COVID-19 vaccine. So how did we come about it so quick? It means nothing is really expensive and nothing is really costly. It is really an issue of priority, or yeah, an issue of priority. So we prioritize renewable energy and storage. How do we achieve these things in a how do we achieve these things in a renewable manner? So that is what we must critically look at. Another thing is building integrated water systems. Okay, you must not see any water as a waste. All right, we should build integrated water system. The water that comes from your bathroom, where does it go? What can we use it for? What you call waste is a resource to another organism. What you call waste is a resource to another life enabling process. All right. So we must see how everything we do as a system. So the paper we use, when we are done using the paper, we throw it away. Some other people go to pack this paper, okay, and they take it to the tissue paper production industries. So they use wasted paper to produce tissue paper. Do you understand? So nothing is wasteful. We should look at how everything we use is an integrated system. Where when we are done using one, we are thinking of how that the one we are done using could be something of use for another. So that's why they say one man's food is another man's poison. Okay, and one man's poison is another man's food. So when you are done with maybe a material like plastic, okay, like plastic, all right, instead of just throwing the plastic into the sea or throwing it elsewhere, that same plastic could be a resource for another. Like today, we have the wood plastic composite. So the plastic you have to throw away as a waste is a resource for wood plastic composite. So you see that nothing is a way. So we should think in an integrated manner to not see that there's an end point to anything, but that there's continuity. So what is useless for me after I've used it could become a useful resource to another person. All right. Now consider waste as a resource. Consider waste as a resource. So before you throw anything away, before you say this thing is totally wasted, okay, you must first look at it. What kind of resources can we bring out of this? So when we think of this, it will help us to come up with more better initiatives where the things that we've even regarded as waste today could become something that is very vital. That is very vital. Today we are talking about pollutants in terms of electronic pollutants. We are talking about the disposed TV, the disposed computers, the disposed hardwares and all. What can we make out of these things and bring them back into becoming resources that could be reused elsewhere? All right. Right here around the American University of Beirut, okay, there are places you drop plastic for recycling. There are places you drop the different kind of material that you use for recycling right here. So those little contributions, they are great solutions if everyone is contributing it. But the fact is that only the few number of the populace is contributing to these things. So if everybody see it as a priority and say, okay, I may not be able to change what is happening completely, I may not be able to take like Edenwood initiative. We came up with this initiative, okay, to restore the environment back to how it was, of course, in the Garden of Eden. That was the inspiration. Okay, even though we may not be able to achieve Eden, but we could be able to reverse the danger in the near future. So through individual contributions, prioritize recycling. So when we think in this manner and we shift our mind, whenever we want to act against the environment, we will think twice. And that's how we could navigate this scenario in this Anthropocene era.
Wow, that's a great one from you. Thank you so much. Something was just of course we don't have much time again. However, before your final words on this edition of our Green Talk, I like to know I would like to know your views on the roles of different stakeholders in balancing what we are discussing here today, because you cannot take away the place of government, the government roles. You can't take away the roles of NGOs. You can't take away the roles of individuals, even in achieving some of those things that we'll talk about today. So can you just tell us maybe some of those things we should do, or the roles of relevant stakeholders in achieving the theme we are discussing here today.
Okay, now I'm going to classify the stakeholders into three. Okay, number one,
Okay.
I'll say the government, the non-government, and individuals. Okay,
Okay.
all right. One of the things I know that solving environmental issues like is participation. So a lot of time we name all the stakeholders, but we don't care about individuals. Okay, and that has made what we are doing to lag behind at a high level. All right. Now, in terms of government, I must confess to you that government has the smallest role to play, but the most impactful role. They have the smallest but the most impactful role. Smallest and most impactful. Because the best the government could do on their part, okay, is to create enabling policies for this kind of things.
Yeah.
Number one thing is, even though we are coming up with several initiatives, there are no policies to monitor them. Today they say if you want to build, you should do environmental impact assessment. How well are these things being monitored? Some people could bribe an agency and they will get EIA stamp that an EIA has been done on that project while nothing has been done. Now, another thing is for environmental impact assessment to even be done on a project, to be sure that this project that is maybe it's a sawmill, maybe it's a public building, maybe it's an institution, that this thing comply with environmental sustainability laws. Okay, how easy is it for people that want to embark on this project? Okay, you have to go through filing system, apply for this, pay for this, and these
Well,
things are
well,
consuming.
it might be country relative anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah, yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going. It might be consuming. Okay, as much as it is country relative, it is a common thing even around the world. So people avoid doing this kind of thing because of the stress they go through. But if there are enabling policies and we prioritize these things, I'll prioritize now. Okay, now without asking further questions, how many graduates could say they know about environmental impact assessment? Only the environmentalists. How many graduates can say they know about that there's something called environmental impact assessment? Only the environmental people who study environmental like issue. But this is supposed to be what they should teach across board. Across board. The project manager should know it. The biologist should know it. The
Yeah.
engineers should know it. The physicist should know it. It should be a generally known thing for graduate, just the way they recommend general studies, GNS English, just the way we have English as a generic thing for everybody to know, should be the way environmental awareness should be a thing for everybody to know. So when there are enabling policies for these things in institutions, okay, in government sectors, it will be easy for people to comply. And of course, there will be incentives. Incentives are not always positive. Even penalties are incentives. Okay, when this kind of incentives are attached to, all right, to those policies, when you fought them, okay, people will start complying gradually. Okay, somebody may say, this guy is in Nigeria, things may not work like that, and it starts from somebody. It starts from somebody. We cannot just give it a total, overhaul in that manner and say it cannot work. Okay, it starts from somebody. Somebody needs to start it. So people will start getting complying with it. Even to get a CFO for your land, people may even dupe you. So these are the things that government could do to create enabling policies to monitor and assess these things. So as people continue to do things that will hurt the environment, okay, there are standards that are there to deal with those issues. In terms of the non-governmental organizations are supposed to embark on research and see, okay, how could we do these things better? Then you will see how those stratas are interconnected. Then when they do this, they can easily connect with a government body. And what are they connecting with the government body? Number one, to understand the policies that are in place and also to access funding for this kind of project, for this kind of initiatives that could help environmental sustainability. Then the last stage are individuals. So what are the contribution of individuals to this situation? What am I doing? What are you doing? Okay, I remember when we're back in school, I learned not to throw pure water nylon on the floor because of the kind of friends I work with. I remember doing Salim, the first time I wanted to throw a pure water nylon on the floor, gave me a backhand at the back of my head. And since then, whenever I want to throw a nylon or a tissue or something on the floor without looking for a waste bin, okay, it comes to my mind what Salim did back then. It comes to my mind what Salim did back then. And whenever I remember the action of Salim, anytime I want to throw something away, immediately I remember what Salim did, the way he slapped my head at the back. And I will not throw that tissue paper on the floor. I will ensure I find a waste bin. So the friend around me, they will say the side of your bag is a waste bin. So I just ID them. Whenever I get to where there's a disposal, I just throw it there. So you can see that is the contribution of individual. Okay. When you see somebody that's trying to do something that hurts the environment, educate the person. When somebody throws nylon on the floor, talk to the person. Okay. This thing I don't think is polite. Okay. The way we fight gender issues, the way we fight this issue of rape should be the same energy as individuals that we use to fight environmental degradation. So when you hear somebody rape somebody, it makes the news. Everybody is talking about it. But when we say somebody degrades the environment, it does not make any news. So the same energy we used to fight atrocities, we used to fight stealing, we used to fight that EFCC is using to fight crime in terms of finance, the same
That's
way,
Nigeria.
the same way, in terms of finance, the same way, and generally around the world, the same way, people that are pursuing, or people that are committing any kind of crime are pursuing them. The same way we pursue people who commit murder, or should be the same way that we pursue environmental degradation. When somebody is contributing to environmental degradation, and we should reward people that are contributing to environmental sustainability. NGOs that are doing it right should be well rewarded. And the way to reward them is not just to give them money to spend, it's to give them money to do more. Because the reward for good work is more work. The reward for good work is more work.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
that's
yeah. That's a great one from you, Meshach. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It's been a great one having you on board. Thank you for shedding light on the topic we are discussing this afternoon. That is Anthropocene and the near future. Okay. In 1 or 2 minutes, can we have the final words from you?
okay. Now, the final word from me is just like the same question I was asking my professor in class yesterday. Is that we talk about these big words, we talk about it as a big issue, but how can we simplify these things down to what we can keep doing by the day so that we will not prioritize intensity, we will prioritize consistency. All right. We organize big conferences to talk about the environment. Okay. We talk about it, we bring up several things and all that is intensity. But anyone you see in life who is successful, even in their personal life or anything, it is not about intensity, it is about consistency. So, what are the individual steps that we could take? Those steps we could take as individual consistently by the day, all right, to ensure that environmental sustainability is attained at our own little scope. We don't need to do, you don't need to do the biggest thing, all right. You don't need to want to save the whole of your state. Can you even save your compound? Can you save your immediate compound? When we get to your compound, is it clean? Is it are you doing things that are not that are you doing things that are enabling environmental sustainability? So what are those little things that individuals contribute? So my last word here is a cause for action. Is a cause for action. So just look around your daily habits. Look at your daily doings. What are those things you are doing that are contributing to environmental degradation? Then begin to act them back. Begin to act them back. Begin to reverse those actions and gradually bring them to a state where you do the right thing. So if you have been throwing plastic away anyhow, now begin to look at how you can gather the plastic together and give it to people who want to recycle them. If you throw paper away anyhow and you just throw it on the floor, maybe you are drinking something and you just do it anyhow, begin to look at how that you can ensure that you find a waste bin, throw the paper in it, and not throw it on the floor to litter the environment. So these simple things, okay, that we do, we begin to contribute. Okay, like someone will say, if you maybe you take bike or you enter taxis to places you can trek to, start learning to trek to those places. Okay, start learning to trek those places. Just like research paper I'm reviewing currently, which is on now we should bring children back to walking to school and avoid the use of school bus so that we can enable environmental sustainability. On reading it, it started getting funny. I'm like, even as a student, do I want to trek to school? Okay, so those are the little things we could do, and a lot more. It's so wide that we could do, but ensure you are doing something at your own little scope. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get some of the questions we have on our page. Um, I'm trying to do that right away. Okay. Okay. 1 minute, please.
Yeah, Alalo, are you there? Okay. I think maybe there's network issue on Olaoluwa's part. Okay, so uh since Laulua is disconnected, I think I could see the questions on YouTube. Okay, I think Eshe is asking about, since population has increased now, is there a way we can use this as an advantage to us than the negative effects it has caused? Fantastic, fantastic. Because population is more. That is why if the way the increase in population impact the environment negatively, if we act it back and the same population that is increasing begin to
Okay.
begin to and the same increasing population begin to do all right things, okay, that will lead to environmental sustainability, we will recover faster at the same speed we used in degrading the environment. So if every of this population we are thinking together, okay, they say one which is 1,000, two which is 10,000. Okay, now if we have done it negatively with the mass population we have, and we have a shift in our mindset, even as we are involved, of course, in terms of the big population, we'll be able to achieve that result together and leverage the population as our advantage. So everything still comes back to putting something to work. Everything just comes back to acting by the day. Acting by the day. Let it start from you, Christiana. Let it start from you, Honor. Let it start from Meshach. Let it start from Olaoluwa. Let it start from everybody. So that is how we could do it. Yeah. Olaoluwa, are you back? Yeah. Olaoluwa.
Okay.
Olaoluwa, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Thank you. Just trying to get some of the questions here. From
Yeah. Olaoluwa.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Olaoluwa, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
back.
you.
Just trying to get some of the questions here. From
Yeah. Olaoluwa.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Olaoluwa, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
back.
you. Just trying to get some of the questions.
Okay.
My guest.
Yeah. Thank you. I think I'm okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. I can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. Some of the questions we have here is from Christiana, and it says, since the population has increased, now, is there a way we can use it as an advantage to us than the negative effect it has caused?
Okay, I answered that already, and I will
Okay,
reiterate
okay,
it again. Let me reiterate it that the way the
okay,
population brought pressure on the environment, okay, the population should act back the way we do things and begin to do them positively. So if we do them positively, all right, and in a sustainable manner, we achieve environmental sustainability quickly than even how we came about it.
All right, thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge the message of some of the answers to the questions dropped by um, Afinju Omo Honor. Then we have a kind of proposal from Idou Oladiti on the chat box. So he's proposing a smart dustbin, which is considered out of scope. Okay, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Idou Oladiti, HA Christiana, and Honor for dropping some of your thoughts on the chat box. So I think we are done for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a great talk, and thank you so much, Meshach, for being our guest on this edition of the show. And we do hope if we ask you to come some other time, I hope you are going to answer
I
our
don't have
call.
option. I don't have option.
All right, thank you. And to
Yeah.
everyone joining us, we want to sincerely appreciate you. Thank you for always joining our Green Talk. It's been a wonderful session with Meshach Aderele discussing Anthropocene and the near future. He's been able to talk about what Anthropocene means. It might look like a big word, but then he has been able to simplify what it means to us and also what the near future means. He's been able to balance the two. We talked about increased population and some of the strategies we can put in place as we have urbanization and some of those things we can as well do to build a sustainable environment. Big thanks, Meshach, for joining us today, and we want to sincerely
Yeah.
appreciate our team members for for ensuring that we have for ensuring that we have a successful outing. Big thanks to our co-founders too. Yeah, this is where we draw the curtain on this on today's event, and next week we'll be out here again with another topic, and we do hope that by this time next week too that you join us on another edition of our Green Talk. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you for watching all over the
Thanks,
world.
guys.
And
Thank
big
you.
thanks to our guests too, Meshach.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, bye.